Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and lush meadows, there lived a young maiden named Cinderella. She was known far and wide for her kindness and gentle spirit, but her life was far from easy. Cinderella's days were filled with endless chores, as she toiled away under the watchful eye of her wicked stepmother and stepsisters. One day, an invitation to the grand royal ball arrived at their doorstep. The entire kingdom was buzzing with excitement, as Prince Charming was seeking a bride. Cinderella's stepsisters were overjoyed, and they spent days preparing their gowns and practicing their dance moves. However, Cinderella's heart was heavy, for she knew she would not be allowed to attend the ball. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella's stepsisters grew more demanding, piling on extra tasks and making her life even more miserable. Despite her hardships, Cinderella remained kind and hopeful, finding solace in the little creatures that befriended her in the woods near her home. On the night of the ball, as her stepsisters left in a grand carriage, Cinderella could not contain her sorrow. Sitting alone in the kitchen, tears welled up in her eyes. Suddenly, a shimmering light filled the room, and to her astonishment, a kindly old woman appeared. "Don't cry, dear Cinderella," the fairy godmother said, her voice as soft as a breeze. "You shall go to the ball." With a wave of her wand, the fairy godmother transformed Cinderella's tattered rags into a breathtaking gown adorned with sparkling crystals. She then conjured a pair of delicate glass slippers that glistened in the moonlight. Finally, with another flick of her wand, a pumpkin and a few mice were transformed into a magnificent carriage and a team of elegant horses. "Remember, my dear," the fairy godmother whispered, "this magic shall only last until the stroke of midnight. When the clock chimes, you must leave the ball and return home." Overwhelmed with gratitude, Cinderella stepped into the carriage and set off for the royal ball. As she arrived at the grand castle, whispers of awe swept through the crowd. Prince Charming himself was captivated by her beauty and grace as she entered the ballroom. For hours, Cinderella danced and twirled with the prince, and all eyes were on the mysterious beauty in the enchanting gown. She felt like she was in a dream, the world outside the castle walls disappearing as she lost herself in the magic of the moment. As the clock neared midnight, Cinderella felt a gentle tug at her heart. The fairy godmother's warning echoed in her mind, and with a sense of urgency, she slipped away from the prince's arms and rushed out of the ballroom. In her haste, one of the glass slippers slipped off her foot and was left behind on the staircase. Outside the castle, the carriage awaited her. With a heavy heart, Cinderella returned to her tattered clothes and watched as the carriage and horses transformed back into a pumpkin and mice. She sighed, knowing that the magic had come to an end. As she made her way home on foot, she couldn't shake the feeling of longing and loss. Meanwhile, back at the ball, Prince Charming held the delicate glass slipper in his hands. Determined to find the mysterious beauty, he declared that he would marry the woman whose foot perfectly fit the lost slipper. The following day, the kingdom was abuzz with excitement. The prince's messengers traveled far and wide, searching for the owner of the glass slipper. As they arrived at Cinderella's doorstep, her stepsisters tried in vain to squeeze their feet into the dainty shoe. However, it was clear that the slipper belonged to someone else. Cinderella, who had been silently watching from the sidelines, stepped forward. With a mix of anticipation and trepidation, she delicately placed her foot into the glass slipper. To everyone's amazement, it fit perfectly. Prince Charming, recognizing her from the ball, swept Cinderella into his arms. The joyous cheers of the onlookers filled the air as they celebrated the union of the kind-hearted maiden and the charming prince. From that day forward, Cinderella's life was transformed. She and Prince Charming ruled the kingdom with benevolence and compassion, and the memory of Cinderella's lost slipper became a symbol of true love that transcended the boundaries of social status. And so, the tale of Cinderella and her lost slipper became a timeless story, passed down through generations, reminding everyone that kindness, resilience, and a touch of magic could turn even the most ordinary of lives into extraordinary fairy tales.